It's Christina with the Sisyphean Journal, and today is September 13th, and we're looking at the abortion death of Laura Hope Smith. Laura was an orphan from Honduras who was adopted by Tom and Eileen Smith as a toddler. They were absolutely delighted to have her, and this is very much a warning to pro-life parents. They had raised their daughter right. They had raised her to know better, but you have to understand the abortion lobby takes an especial pride in talking young Christian girls into abortions. It's one of their little things. They consider it some sort of victory when they get a woman to go against her own beliefs because she's in some sort of panic situation. So this is deliberate. They will try to sell an abortion to your daughter. They'll go hard sell on her. Now, at 7 p.m. on September 13th of 2007, Eileen and Tom were just sitting down to dinner when their phone rang and Laura's number came up on the caller ID, and they were very happy to answer the phone. She called all the time. They were glad to talk to her. But it wasn't Laura. It was her friend, screaming, shouting, trying to get something across, but they're only making out an occasional word. Laura, hospital, not breathing, and abortion. And Eileen is wondering what in the world's going on here. What? Laura, hospital, abortion, what? They hadn't known Laura was even pregnant. Finally, the friend handed Laura's phone off to the doctor, and the doctor told the parents that Laura had died. Okay. Laura had gone with her friend Karen to Women Health Center in Hyannis, Massachusetts. I can't pronounce the doctor's last name. Dr. Rapin starts with an O. Osathanondh. Dr. O, I'll call him. Went to the clinic. She was 13 weeks pregnant. And they started the abortion probably putting in some laminaria in the morning and told them to come back in the afternoon for the actual procedure. So they went, drove around, and did some errands. Laura wasn't supposed to eat before the procedure, so Karen didn't eat either. They returned at 4 p.m., and Laura was called back in at about 5 p.m. Karen stepped out briefly, expecting that Laura would be out in about 15 minutes, but she didn't come out, and Karen started to become a little bit worried. Karen told the Cape Cod Times, then all of a sudden, an assistant comes out and she says she's not breathing, and I was like, what do you mean she's not breathing? Fire department rescuers were dispatched to the clinic at 5:49 p.m. and found an unresponsive patient. They initiated CPR and took her to the hospital. Karen followed, but she wasn't allowed to see Laura. When she asked how she was, they told her it doesn't look good. Next of kin hadn't been notified yet, so the doctors weren't allowed to tell Karen that Laura was dead. Now, I'm going to read from what Eileen Smith later said. I met with the doctor who aborted my grandchild and who saw my daughter take her last breath. He would only meet me in a public place without my husband. We talked for an hour and a half. Based on that meeting, I believe I know what happened to Laura. He denies doing anything that caused her death. When we were done talking about Laura, I prayed and asked God if there was anything he would have me say to the doctor. This is what I said next. The blood of my daughter is on your hands. The blood of my grandchild is on your hands. The blood of every life you have ever taken is on your hands. He was silent with his head hung low. When I was ready to leave, I asked if he would think about my daughter and consider not doing any more abortions. He said he would think about it. Laura, during the abortion, this is something pro-lifers would expect, but not pro-choice people. An untrained handholder was assisting with the general anesthesia. Nobody in the clinic, including the doctor, knew CPR. There was no emergency resuscitation equipment in the clinic. This doctor had been playing Russian roulette with his patients' lives, and Laura had died. So over 600 people attended Laura's funeral, and at least one young woman decided to reject abortion after learning about Laura's death. So eventually, with pressure from Eileen and Tom, the doctor was prosecuted because of how appalling his care of Laura was. After she died, he had somebody come in and do CPR training and backdate it to make it look as though the training had been done prior to Laura's death. After Laura's death, he bought the emergency equipment that should have been in place. So again, it's a warning to pro-life parents who think you're raising your kids right. You have to understand these people understand the psychology of pregnancy very, very well. They use it to sell abortions. You know, they talk to these women as if it's going to make it have never happened. It's just making your period start again. You need to abortion-proof your kids. You need to tell them about the sneaky, tricky ways that they try to separate you from your loved ones who would care for you. So, my heart bleeds for Eileen and Tom and the loss of Laura and her baby.